And welcome everyone. My name is Kyle Stephanie Krause. I'm one of the instructional designers here at Springfield Technical Community College. My colleague is also here, Mary Wiseman, and she is also an instructional designer with the CODL. Today's workshop is going to be on Screencast Matic. And what I want to do just for the first few minutes is just go over a really brief overview of what Screencast Matic is, so that if you have any questions, we can always just get those out of the way. And then I can go into showing you how to use Screencast Matic. Just one little heads up is that I already have an account myself, so many of the features I have are the pro account. So if for any reason you sign up with a free account, there are some things you will not see, and that also some steps I will not be able to go through with you in terms of like setting up a YouTube channel or setting up a Screencast-O-Matic account, mostly because I already have those accounts and I don't have access to going through that over and over again. So I just want to give people a heads up. We do also have a lot of resources on our website, which I will also refer to throughout the presentation. So, basic overview of Screencast-O-Matic. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide, the first slide, and I'm going to move people over here. So what is Screencast-O-Matic? So it's a software that lets you record multimedia presentations using your personal computer. You will sign up for an account, and then there's this launcher application that you're going to download. It doesn't take very long, probably takes about 3-4 minutes total. If you have probably if you have a weaker internet connectivity, it might take a couple minutes more. But other than that, it's actually not a very technical, not a big program. It doesn't take up a lot of space on your computer. It's just the thing that tells the software on the web to interact with your computer and your account. And then you can do a variety of presentations with it. What can I record with Screencast-O-Matic? So there's a variety of things that people are using Screencast-O-Matic for, and things that people haven't even thought about doing just yet. So very common is going to be speaker presentations. Anytime you want to have, say, a guest speaker do a presentation, but they aren't able to do a live web conference, you can always have someone record something that you can also put into your class. But you can also just do kind of a face-to-face conversation where you're just talking and you have your screen on. Then course tours, a lot of people will do presentations of going through their Blackboard online class and kind of showing the students how to navigate the course, tell them anything that they want to make sure that they know they need to do in their class. Software tutorials for some of our programs as well as other programs, whether it's Blackboard, but also some of you have very specific software that you want students to be able to navigate. If they have access to that software themselves, you can do software tutorials, how to log in, how to download that information, and then also how to create documents, those kind of things as well. Mary and I use that often a lot when we're trying to do tutorials for Blackboard or for Google as well. Website tours. Some faculty will do a tour of a website that students have to frequently access, whether it's a textbook company or an accreditation site, or any type of site like OWL at Purdue, which is a writing and citation site. So they'll sometimes do tutorials of things they want students to pay attention to. Additionally, some people will do website tours if there's an assignment based on it. So they'll give instructions out to the student, but they'll also make a short form video that will explain what the student is supposed to do at the website and then do their homework or do their assignment or take their quiz. Again, training materials, which kind of goes into the software tutorials, but in this case, it's not so much just doing your screen, but I could be presenting with a PowerPoint presentation like I'm doing right now, but I'd be able to kind of go through and do some type of training on a particular topic or area that needs to be trained on. Video instructions, this also goes back to the homework piece to it, is that some faculty and even staff, it's that if you want to do instructions on how to accomplish a task, or if there's a piece of something that you need to go over, so I want to show you how to do homeworks, but I'm not showing you how to do homework in Blackboard, I want to show you how you have to actually complete the homework assignment. So I have been seeing some people do those where they're very specific videos that are related to providing instructions for completing a task. And then the most common that probably from faculty are kind of geared towards or lean towards are going to be lectures. Being able to present your content, whether it's going to be with your face, doing a tour of a presentation like a PowerPoint or a Google slide, or showing a website, or as I always say, kind of a talking head, or a combination of those two views. So those are all the sorts of things that you can record with Screencast-O-Matic, and in the future we'll probably have some examples for you. Also, I just want to kind of jump into tools and features. So in terms of the tools, there are 3 tools that come with the license for Screencast-O-Matic. The first one is going to allow you, and it's a new feature, to take screenshots. So this will allow you to take a screenshot and then also be able to draw on the image on the screen and then make notations. So if you're trying to show students, this is actually very common for Mary and I, is we take a screenshot of Blackboard and then we might circle a button or a window. You're going to have that feature available to you in Screencast-O-Matic. You also have the recorder feature, which is going to afford you the opportunity to record your head, record a presentation, or record a split screen, which is both your presentation and yourself. And then the last tool that's available is your video editor, which once you've done a recording and you have it on Screencast-O-Matic, you're going to be able to click through that material and edit, adjust it. If you started early and you started talking and you want to cut that first minute out where you just kind of jump into your presentation, you've got some video editing features, and it's pretty robust. I myself just got my own pro account. I think along with Mary, she got hers. So I'm still learning the features and going over some of the stuff, but there is a lot of cool stuff that I will say that I have a couple pieces of software myself that I use for kind of professional editing, and I pay a lot more than what this tool provides almost all of the same tools at a much reasonable price normally, but free for you because you are using your stick account. Features is just to let you know you can, there is a content there is a content management area, which means you can order and sort out by libraries, by what dates and times. There's actually like a library available to you that actually keeps your video content and lets you know what you have and when you have it. But you can make basically little areas and folders where you can sort your videos, but also be able to share out those folders to students. And then that's your personal library as well. And that's the space just for you. Media sharing, this actually allows you to share your videos from Screencast-O-Matic or any other site, but for the most part, in Screencast-O-Matic, you can share your videos directly from Screencast-O-Matic and have them stored there, and then be able to share them via link or via embedding, which is allowing you to put the video directly into the screen. Secure backup, there actually is a feature that allows you to create a secure backup on Screencast-O-Matic that also when you download this, there'll be a copy on Screencast-O-Matic, and also you can also just download. Traditionally, when we had the free account, it usually stored it on your Screencast-O-Matic, but once you transferred it over, it moved it out of Screencast-O-Matic and it was stored wherever you had chosen. And then the last feature that's going to be available is to transfer to other media platforms. You can set your own personal Screencast-O-Matic account to automatically, after you're done recording, you can go into a menu and click on your button to access your Stick YouTube account and send your videos to your YouTube account, to your Google Drive, to a program called Vimeo. There's a bunch of other third-party tools that if you wanted to store your videos, you could do that. The reason I'm going to stress the transfer to other media sites is that Blackboard is not a video server, and putting videos directly into Blackboard for playback is not the most functional use of it, predominantly because it's on the use of other people's computers, other people's browsers and settings as well. So Blackboard can't make the adjustments that a video server can make. So for example, Google provides you the interface for the buttons and everything around rewinding and playing and pausing and all of that. Blackboard has one of those as well, but Google's language is set up to adjust to Chrome and Safari and different interfaces. Blackboard's isn't that complicated because it's not a video server. So I usually tell people that's why we're always telling people put it on YouTube, and you do have your own YouTube account, and we'll go into that a little bit, and you'll be able to store your videos there. You can store them privately, which we call unlisted, to share just for your Blackboard course, or you can share some videos publicly so other students can access it or fellow colleagues can use your videos as well in their classes. So those are going to be just the tools and features of Screencast-O-Matic. And then the last thing that I'm going to do before we kind of dive into looking at Screencast-O-Matic is going to be that this is kind of the thinking stage. And I'm like, oh, Kyle, there's always a thinking stage with you. But there are things that you should do ahead of time to think about how to prepare. First of all, you're going to want to set up your STCC YouTube channel. And this is where I usually will go ahead and pull up our CODL website. And I'm going to just share in the chat menu the the window, the website link that we have for Screencast-O-Matic. Sorry.
Kyle, let me do that. I'll get
Okay. So I usually, Mary, if you can put up how to set up your YouTube channel, and I think those are the same pages. And then also I usually put the link to Screencast-O-Matic as well at this point. So we have on the CODL, the Center for Online and Digital Learning website, we have a page that explains to you how to set up your YouTube account for your stick account. And then also, everyone has to do this, is if you want to expand so you can store more than 15 minutes of video at a time on, so each video you record is 15 minutes long. If you want to expand that to have longer format videos, you do have to do a second thing, which expands your quota. That page that Mary is putting up has that available. Then also on our CODL website, we do have a tutorial set of videos for Screencast-O-Matic, and this recording will also go there as well, so you'll be able to watch that at any point. So I just like to tell people, make sure you prepare, that you read and do any research. Additionally, I'm going to see if I can put this in here, but there's also, let me take this link. I got this actually from Dan O'Neill, and this is, there's a tutorial page for Screencast-O-Matic directly, and they have some really great videos, and they're sometimes 7-8 minutes long, which is, you love listening to me for almost 90 minutes. But if you want short format videos, you want to remember something, that's a great place to go. And they do have great videos. I did watch them. Make sure that your web camera and your microphone works. That's going to happen when you download Screencast-O-Matic. You're going to just have to do a couple practice videos, and that's a big thing that I usually tell people, is that you want to make sure that you practice a little bit, make sure your camera works, it's got the right angles. I right now tell people I have 3 mics and 2 video cameras. So when I'm putting stuff on, I have to make sure I have the right angle and the right camera set up, that kind of stuff. But for all of you, it's just make sure your laptop camera works and that your sound comes through clear. Find or purchase headphones to isolate sound. If you have a mobile device, you might want to just use your earbuds and put that into your computer. Any way that you can isolate the random sound that happens when you're doing recording, you might want to be able to do. Most of us do have something like just a regular pair of headphones. That just kind of helps out. But a headset or headphones for your cell phone actually will let you use the mic on it, and you'll be able to hear and like isolate the sound for yourself as well. So I recommend that, especially if you're kind of doing a couple videos over and over again, you're doing a couple in a row, it's kind of easy to isolate the sound out. Also, small things like the lawn being cut outside or a dog barking might not be picked up if your mic is closer to your face. Then the last thing I always say is to create an outline, a script, or a storyboard. It's kind of really important when you're doing these things. If you're not going over a straight PowerPoint or having something that you're reading, it's really helpful to have a script. And sometimes people really be like, well, that sounded like it was read. And I tell people, I'd rather watch a video where it sounds more like it was read than someone to talk to me and then go off on a tangent or have a lot of ums or ahs or pauses in a video. So I usually tell people, even an outline that says, yep, I got a 5-minute video and I want to do this, this, and this. You're looking at it while you're recording. You're going to make sure you do it. Scripts, practice them, read them, then they don't sound so read. And I usually tell people, if you ever hear me, I'm reading a lot of our tutorials. They don't sound that way because I usually read them a couple times. And storyboarding is actually just saying what every slide or every change would be. And that's a little bit more intricate. If and when we get back to campus, or maybe Mary will do this in the fall. She's a really great workshop on formulating storyboards for video production, especially if you want to do things where maybe you're bringing other forms of video into things. So that's the thinking stage. Those are the basics that I usually tell people to think about. Last thing I did not put on here is when you're recording, be aware of your external space. If you're showing your camera, I have a curtain. That's not a great wallpaper, but because I don't want people to see what's behind me, be aware of the just the space that you're kind of in. That's the only thing that I usually tell people. So that's going to be all of the thinking stage stuff. And then I think this is the last, let's take a look. So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to share my regular screen, but I'm going to do something a little weird. And let me end this because I got to do all this change up on sharing.
Any questions so far?
Yes. Let me close that. And then did that stop sharing, or is that still my desktop? My messy, messy desktop. Oh, there we go. Still my desktop. Sorry, everyone. Okay. what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my chat over to my other window, and I'm going to move that over here. And I'm just going to open up the big window that I have for my entire desktop. There we go. And I'm going to put you all on this other screen, so I won't necessarily be able to see you right away. Okay. So when you want to go and start out on Screencast-O-Matic, what you want to do is you actually want to come to screencast-o-matic.com. Now I'm going to actually just start this by logging out to start out. So the very first time that you're going to come to Screencast-O-Matic, you're going to come to this page. When you come to this page, you're going to have at the upper right-hand side of the screen, you're going to see a button that says log in or sign up. It's free. Now I can only go so far, as I mentioned, with this presentation, but you're going to click on a button, and what you're going to want to do is just sign in. What I'm going to strongly discourage you from doing is sign in with Google right now. You want to, if you're new, you want to sign in with your email, and the reason why is signing with Google is the thing that usually causes us some problems of recognizing your stick account. So if you put in the email here and you continue, it's going to ask you to make a password, and once you do that, it's going to set up your account. Once you set up your account, and I'm going to go backwards because I actually have an account. I'm just going to log. So once you have an account, it'll just automatically log you in the first time. But then after that, you come back to your Screencast-O-Matic account, and instead of hitting the sign up, it's free button, you're going to hit the login button. And this is going to be the same window. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and put my email in here. Oh, wrong. Until I do that. And then one second. I save all of my passwords, so I don't know what my password is right now. Copy, and I'm gonna, oh, it remembered it for me. Good job. Okay, that says it's incorrect. There we go. Okay, when you first go into Screencast-O-Matic, you're going to come to what's going to be your content area. And just to give you a heads up, I'm going to do a quick orientation to the screen for this. So this is basically your video library of all the videos that you've created. I'm going to go from left to right. So on the left-hand side, this is going to show you all of the videos that you have in Screencast-O-Matic, all of your images, any folders that you have made up. So in this case, I don't have any folders. Any channels. So channels are the things that you can create and then share out to people. And then anything that is waiting in the trash that I want to have it deleted. So my content area is right there, and it's called quick views because they want you to kind of just go through and be able to see all of those things. So I'm right now in my videos area, and I just click through to find all of those, find all my other images and whatever the case. Like I said, this is a newer account, so I don't have as many videos. If I want to create new folders, I just click on the new button, and then I can just type in here training. And I'll just leave it for training and create a new folder. And now a new folder will stay in there. And then it'll start to put all of that content in here for me. So this is going to be my content area. This is going to be my own library of my own videos. And then I'm going to start to move over towards the right-hand side of the screen. If I come back to my videos area here, the very top right side of the screen, you're going to see there's going to be a bar across the entire screen, and that's where it says content on the left, and then it's going to say switch to original view on the right. This is a newer view for Screencast-O-Matic, and for older users of the software, if you click on it, it's a different interface. So just to be aware of that, you have the ability to see this older interface if this seems more intuitive to you, but at some point it'll switch over. So I just tell all newer users, please feel free to just go ahead and switch to the beta view and use this view, because it's going to be the one they ultimately will probably use. Above this switch to original view, you're going to have four buttons. The first one is going to be for capturing screenshots. The next one is going to be that launcher, which is how you record your videos. And then you're going to have your video editor. Those are the three tools that I mentioned. What I want to do before I dive into those is just say that when you sign in, you're going to get an icon with your initials. When you click on that button, what will happen is it's going to tell you your settings, any tour features, blog, tutorials, support, and also how you sign out. The reason I want to point this out to you is that if you use your stick address, you should see it say team member. If for any reason you say free member, then that's also where you want to just check in with Dan O'Neill, and that's and when you go to Google your Gmail, he's a staff member. You just type in Dan O'Neill, and you can write to him directly about this. So in this case, I'm a team member, so I know that I'm having my stick account. I get my stick features. So I just want to make sure people are aware of that before we go any further. So the very first thing that I might want to do is that I might want to take a screenshot. So I'm going to spend a couple minutes on this because that's not what most people want to do, but it's a really cool feature, and I like to just show it because there might be moments where you do want to do that. Now, as I said before, when you go to launch anything, once you've downloaded the software, you're going to get a window here that says Open Screencast Recorder Launcher, and then it actually says Screencast-O-Matic wants to open this application. It's always going to ask you permission. Now, because I do tutorials and I do this workshop, I never check the allows so I can show you this, but you can always check the allow button and then just open, and then you will automatically have the launcher open. If until you do that, at the bottom center part of the screen, you're going to say where it says launching recorder, and then it says click allow or okay or try again. So this is just waiting for me to say okay. If you click on the always button, this process will just automatically happen and you won't be asked. I'm going to go ahead and click on Open Screencast Launcher. I want to make sure it opens, and it says recorder launched, and recorder will appear in a second. And then I get a message on the upper right hand side that says ready to take a screenshot. You can access the screenshot tool from the Screencast-O-Matic. I say ready, and then what's going to happen is that I can go ahead and click anywhere on the screen that I want to. Now I've made this entire screen full screen, so it's gonna take a screen of the screen you're already seeing, but let me see if I can actually just take a screenshot. I want to take a screenshot of our digital tools page. So all I have to do is I'm going to take my mouse and let me actually not do that. Let me do this. Try it again. I want to be ready. I'm just going to put my mouse on the screen. It didn't show up for you, I think. I'm going to put my mouse on the screen, and then I just drag where I want to keep all of where I want the screenshot to be taken. Then when I'm ready and I've selected the area, I just let go of the mouse and the screenshot's been taken. When I get that, it says screenshot is copied, and I now can take that screenshot and paste it into a Word document. I can save it to my desktop, and I can put it into Blackboard, but I also have the ability, and you have icons here, to open the screenshot editor, to just open the screenshot folder, or I can go ahead and publish the screenshot to the web so I can put it someplace. I want to go ahead and just quickly just edit this one, so I'm going to go to the editor, and you're going to get a window that opens up. And when it opens up on the screen, I come over here. Let me make this window a little smaller. There we go. When I do that, I'm going to get a screenshot editor. And so this was the picture that I had taken of my screen. And on the right-hand side, I have a bunch of different options. I can adjust the size. So if I want this to be smaller, I can go ahead and apply that, and it's going to make this image smaller, or I'm just going to reset it back to its original, because that would be hard to explain any of this stuff. It was that small. And then I have features here, crop and resize. This is going to let me drag the menu. I can actually go ahead and I can drag here and reposition the page. So I say I just want to take that part of it. I can go ahead and crop, and if I don't like any of it, I always can hit the reset button. So I have the ability to crop. I have the ability to place arrows or squares or stars or different things on my screen, and I'll be able to put that shape right there, and then I can move it around and I can do different things. And again, the arrow feature is usually really helpful because I can now place an arrow here, and then I would be able to move this arrow around and say, hey, I want you to see that that's the title for my Screencast-O-Matic. So now I have that feature there, and I can play around with. This is a quick style, and it lets me customize my style, and I can change my color and do a bunch of different things as well. So ultimately, you're going to have to play around a little, but I want to let you know that you can take a screenshot, you can circle things, you can do shapes. Again, you have the shape button here, and I think I wanted to circle And if I want to circle that is empty, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So say you're doing something and you want to display to a student tutorial. I'll make this bigger. Okay, done. Thank you. And I want to make it larger. I'm going to be able to adjust the size and do all of that as well. So it's going to let me play around with my shapes. I also have the blur tool that allows me to take away any, if I'm doing something where student data or anything, I can do that. I can also add text onto the screen. You can see that here. And then also I can add steps, which just let me say, this is step 1 and step 2 and step 3 and step 4. And so you can set that up and you can also play with your styles. Again, play around. If it's something you're interested in doing, that's great. If not, you don't have to use this feature at all, but I think it's a really great thing. And I know that Mary and I have a piece of software that costs a lot more money to do this exact same thing. So it's actually really cool that we have it available. Then you're going to be able to copy this image to your clipboard and then just paste it someplace. You can always export this image and it's going to ask where I want it. I might want to put it on my desktop, or I can go ahead and publish this image and it's going to ask me. So in this case, it's my example screenshot. I'm going to go ahead and call it that. And then it asks me, do I want it to be authenticated? That means that if someone is in, it would be that you'd have to have someone else who has a Screencast-O-Matic account, unlisted, password protected, where I could put a password on this, or I could just make this publicly available. And then when I give out this link to people, then anybody can access it. So no one can find my image right now. I have to share with them a web link to it, but this is just letting people know that I have to give this link to someone for them to see it, or I can just, anyone who comes to my Screencast-O-Matic window that I've made public, or whatever I've made public, or wherever I share this, it's going to be public out there. So in this case, I'm just going to leave it and I'm going to publish it to Screencast-O-Matic. And now it says that it's published and I'm all set. To get out of the screenshot editor, I'm just going to go ahead and click done. And then that's going to bring me back to my normal Screencast-O-Matic window. And now you should be able to see my, there you go, my example screenshot is sitting right here. And so now I can go ahead at any point and I can share this out with people. Let me make sure. Just to let you know, in Screencast-O-Matic, there are 3 dots that go. I will say this, I know we're giving you a lot of software, and for some reason, the newest thing in technology is to make dots be the menu bars. So this is the same thing. If you click on these 3 menus, these 3 little dots, it's going to go ahead and give you your ability to share, move, create a channel, that kind of thing. So if you want to share this, you can share it, and then you're automatically going to get a link. And there's always a little copy icon here for you to be able to copy. And if you want to learn how to embed, which if we get time, I'll show you that later, is you can actually embed this into the screen so it shows up right on the screen. It's not a direct link that opens up a new browser or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and that's my images. My next feature is going to be the one that probably most of you are going to be the most excited about, and probably what I'll spend a little bit more time on today than anything else. Again, same thing here is, oh, and I just clicked on it and then I didn't think it was going to, I thought it was going to give me my little warning again. Next to the screenshot button, you're going to see a little video camera, or an old school timey-wimey image of a video camera. And when you click on that, that's going to launch your video recorder. Now, I already gave it permission to launch my recorder for the screenshot, so it automatically does it. So once you're logged in between screenshots and using the video editor, it's going to give me permission. What Screencast-O-Matic does is it gives me a window here where I can determine how much of the window I want to share. So if I am doing a tutorial on explaining the CODL website, I can actually highlight the entire section here and start recording. And this is going to cover all of that. Or if I just want to show a singular page on a website, let me find a page. As you go, oh, I'm going a little too down into this. This tool, because I know I just did this one. I could go ahead and just demonstrate. Right now, what I could demonstrate to you is actually how to walk through a website page. So in this case, you can do a bunch of different. It lets you show your screen. So I can select my screen to any window that I want to. If I also, for example, want to have a PowerPoint up, I'm going to be able to share my PowerPoint, and I'll actually just open my slides account, and I'll do this again with our PowerPoint that we had today. I can always just open my Google account. And if I want to, I could just go ahead and not even hit the present mode. I could just go ahead and highlight this whole thing, and then this would start to present for me. So I've selected the window that I want to do my presentation in, and I'm going to be able to move the window around. Now, that's probably the first thing that most people want to do. What I do want to show with you is that this is automatically waiting for you to record. So once I've selected the area that I want to be able to record, whether it's a website or it's going to be a window or an image or whatever it is, whatever I want to talk about, I then have turned on, it's waiting for me to record. And you're going to get a little menu here that says record. It's also the little gear button here. It's going to say record, and then you're going to get the option for the screen, your webcam, or both. So if you notice right now in my presentation, I have the window and my webcam. If I just want my screen, it's going to take away that bottom version of my webcam on the video. And so it'll just record the presentation. So if you're someone who does not feel comfortable showing yourself, please be aware that you can just share your own screen. You can also click on webcam here, and this is just going to show me now my webcam. It's going to take my presentation away, or I can go ahead and click on both, and now I get that window down at the bottom as well. Then I have, because I have the team account, it's going to give me max time, and it's going to say none. But if I'm trying to shoot for a 15-minute video, I might just give myself the challenge to go ahead and only record 15 minutes at a time. You can keep it extended and go as long as you want. That doesn't really matter. But that's just to let you know you do have the ability to just have no max if you're not using a free account. This is also how you'll know if you have a free account, because the free account won't give you this option. It'll just say 15 minutes max. Additionally, you can choose your recording size based on, for example, you hear a lot of times resolution 480, 720. In this case, I've shared it with the screen that's larger than this, and then I'm going to have to make adjustments later to how it is visible on the website. But you can set it up so that it automatically only shows in a certain format, so like 720, and then I'd have to sit here and make my presentation smaller to fit in that kind of window, which is kind of like letterbox feature. If I do 480, 480 is more like the traditional YouTube square that you have. So if I did this, this would be the authentic kind of max value or view for a 480 video. But it, ultimately, you can change the sizes however you want. Now, when I played around with that, I accidentally lost my setting, my ability, the original outline that I did. So all I need to do right now is, and this is before I forget, you have your cursor. When you go to the top of the screen, and I just want to put it up here, you're going to see these little kind of, I forgot what they're called in construction, but these little kind of like triangle anchor kind of things. What you can just do is grab your mouse, and you're going to just put that anchor at the corners of wherever you want to record. So if I didn't get a chance to explain that earlier on, so I'm just going to keep moving that over here. And now my anchors are exactly in my presentation window, and I have my presentation here, and I can start presenting. Now, this is also just to let you know that the gear went away when I started to readjust. I can always click the gear again and make my changes. The other thing that I want to point out right now is narration is your volume for speaking on your computer. This is going to be your microphone. So narration is your microphone, and you can change any mic depending on the amount of mics that you have. But I do want to let you know that computer audio is not your speaker. Computer audio is that, say you're doing a tutorial, and one of the important things is to hear the sounds that are going on as you like click through things, and maybe there's a bang or a noise. That's gonna be present in your recording. Additionally, is that you might want to record your audio if you're going to be playing a video inside of your video. Now, that does get a little tricky because there's accessibility issues with that. But if that is something that you're going to be doing, you want to consider that you want to make sure that students have access to the original source in some way. But if you're going over a video or a tutorial, or the textbook has a tutorial video and you want to go over the tutorial video, you would turn your audio on here so that you could play that tutorial video and the students could hear it through your recording. Otherwise, this is only going to pick up what is on my speaker, not what is coming through my speaker, and that will do playback there. I then also have a preference button that's available. And this, I tell people, is actually more so for advanced users if you want to use key shortcuts. So if I want to always have a countdown or a control bar or all these different things, I can move these all around. So my control bar always shows up at the bottom, but if I wanted to actually show it to the top, if I clicked on here, now it's all the way at the top here and it'll always come up to the top for me. So I can change some of these things around. I'm going to go ahead and put it at the bottom because most of you have yours at the bottom. And so I always have it available. I also can just change my mind and cancel, but you say, hey, Kyle, what if you're ready to record? Well, I want to go ahead and click on this record button. When I hit on the record button, what's going to happen is I'm going to get a countdown for 3, and then I can start recording. Now, you're going to start to see that there's going to be a pause button at the bottom of the screen, but then you're also going to see a counter that's happening. You're also going to see that it's telling me that my speaking is happening, but I have turned off my computer audio. I can also, I have this little editing button here, and for the most part, I'm all good. I can just start saying, what is Screencast-O-Matic? It's a software that lets you record multimedia presentations using your personal computer. You will sign up with your account, and there's a launcher, and you're going to download, and then you're going to do a variety of presentations. Okay, so say I want to continue on with my presentation, but I just want to pause for a second. I can click the pause button. That's going to hold my presentation at 44 seconds and something milliseconds. But it's going to tell me that I've got 44 seconds on it. Now, I'm going to be able temporarily to also be able to preview what I've recorded before I continue on. Or I can just go ahead and move on to my next slide, and then just start hitting record again. When I do that, I can now say, what can I record with Screencast-O-Matic? Speaker presentations, course tours. So I have the ability, if I always tell people, this is the magic thing of, say you have to cough, or you all of a sudden get slightly brain dead and you're like, oh, what am I going to do? You can hit the pause button. So end on a sentence and just pause and then just start back up. Do be aware that usually digital recordings pick up right immediately, even with the countdown, right when you end. So you might want to wait a second if you've ended on a sentence. So I usually give people kind of that advice. This is also really great if you want to make a very distinct part 1, part 2 break. So the pause button is really helpful. I'm going to go ahead and hit record again. And as I'm recording again, now I have the ability to hit pause. So I'm talking, I'm going over this presentation. Now the record button is still there. I do have my playback button that's going to let me listen. I also have a rewind so I can see back to what I've done. And then I also have on what's called turn on, draw, and zoom, and that's before I forget. When I click on this now, what's going to happen is I get a menu at the top, and this is going to let me have a bunch of features. So I can have a freehand, I can do ovals and highlight, speech bubbles, text areas. So if I want to actually, like if I'm always doing a tutorial here and I want to continue recording, and I've turned that on, say I want to start highlighting these things. It's going to allow me to go ahead and write, and I can just go over this. As I said, I can also freehand on this, and so I can say no, or forget that, or that's the right answer. So I can always write on the screen while I'm also doing my presentation, and I can change the colors, I can change the thickness of the line, and I can also, it says capture cursor while drawing, which that's just letting you know that the cursor is also being seen here for doing that. If I didn't do that, now my recording would stop having the cursor and it would just be showing me writing on the screen. So it's really kind of up to me to do that. All right, now I'm gonna say I've done everything I can think of to do for a recording. I'm gonna hit the pause button again, and I no longer need, I can turn the draw and zoom off, and then I can do 2 things. This video is really not that great, so I can go ahead and just delete it and start over again if I want to. And that's how I normally, like, you'll usually find that when you start recording these things, you might make a couple mistakes in the first few seconds, and then you can just stop, trash it, start all over again. Or I can just say that I'm done, and I'm going to go ahead and click on done. And what's going to happen is it's going to ask me, what's next? And I'm going to say, that I have a couple options. I can just immediately take this video and save it and upload it someplace. I can get a link to it immediately and share it with someone, or I'm going to use the video editor. And for the purpose of this workshop, I'm going to go ahead and click on video editor. So those are my three options, and immediately I get taken to a new screen. This is the video editor. The video editor is going to allow me to play, and then I can start recording. Now you're going to start to see that there's going to be a pause button at the so I can start seeing all of my sections to my videos, and I'm going to be able to click on the various areas that I want to do. If I want to say, for example, cut a section of my video out, I have a cut button that lets me select it, and then I can go ahead and I'm going to be able to drag the, I can take my cursor and select the areas between where I want to select. So in this case, it's going to say I want to select the whole thing, but I don't. So I have a variety of different options here. I can just cut the beginning, the first few minutes out of that. And so I would just go ahead and select this and then cut. And then it says, you know, drag the bar below or use the arrow keys to select what you want to do. And so now I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And when I do that, now I say, okay, and it cut that out immediately. So you'll see that little arrow here and it'll show me that little cut. And if I want to remove that cut and bring it back, I can always do that and it'll bring it back to me right away if I've changed my mind. The cool thing that I really like about this feature and this video editor is next to this cut button is a bunch of tools. So while I'm already here, not only did I have an opportunity to set my video up with certain things that I could do, I also have the ability to copy sections of my video. I have the ability to hide my cursor. I can hide my webcam. So it's going to ask me where I want to hide my webcam, and I can go ahead and select that and say okay. And then that section is going to have my webcam hidden. So if I can go back, and then I can start recording. Now you're going to start. So I have a variety of different features that are going to allow me to do this. I also have the ability, and this is a really cool feature that I do want to point out to everybody else's. So say you're doing a lecture video, but then you have a video of you operating a piece, doing a gear demonstration, and you want to show them the gear and you want to have it up to your webcam and do this. But those are two separate recordings. This is going to let you be able to insert another recording that you did on Screencast-O-Matic right into this presentation. So you do have a little bit of video editing. Now that's a little more advanced. But what I want to do is just kind of give you that if you feel confident, you have the ability to really do some very significant add-ons. You don't have to have 3 videos. You can actually start to play a little and have merging. Most important is to get comfortable with this software, but I want to let you know that it is available to you. So you're going to be able to do that. I'm not going to show you it because, again, it's a little advanced right now, but I want to let you know that that's available. The next thing you have here is a narrate button, whereas if you want to change and narrate over the video further, you can do that. You also have overlay, which this allows you to do things again, like add the arrow in there, and I can add an arrow at any point right on my video. So just like I did with a screenshot, I might be in my video and realize I really needed to actually highlight something. I'm going to be able to do that as well, and I'm just going to leave that there. Then I can also go ahead and move my cursor someplace else, hit my tool button, and I can also then go ahead and highlight something. If I want to go ahead and this one I have to play with myself a little, is I can actually just make the screen highlight this area and then all the rest of the screen blacks out. So I'm going to go ahead and drag to reorder. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Give me back. I got a little too crazy. Sorry about that. Let me go back in here. So what that let me do here is to actually play around with highlighting, and right now I'm going to go ahead and say that I just want to use this and I want to drag it, so I want more of this. It's just not, there we go. So it's just going to highlight this section of the screen and then dim the rest of the section. So I can do that as well and say okay, and now that's in my video as well. Again, I can be in my tools area and I can increase my speed. I can replace video. I can also add transitions, those magic flying toaster type of things that let you kind of move things back in. And I can also play with narration volume and then adjust the volume level. So if I clicked on here to here, it would let me go ahead and adjust volume as well. So This tool section is really comprehensive and it's got a lot of features and things like that. For most of you, you're not going to be kind of diving into the tools features. I do want to just let you know that they're available. A couple other really quick things is that in this video area, you're going to see at the top that you can always take a snapshot of the video slide that you're in. So say that you did something and it turned out to be really great, but you want to actually have it as an image. You have this little camera button at the top. So if you were taking something where I said, I want people to see that, now that snapshot is going to be on my clipboard, and I'm going to be able to cut and paste in it. And as always, I always get myself on the really great image of myself right there, kind of thing as well. And then I also have on the far left-hand side of the screen a preview, and that's going to just zoom into my actual screen. For the most part, I pretty much leave that as it is. So this is just playing around that I have a timeline. I can just go ahead and listen to my video to start. I'm all good. I have tools available that will let me do a whole bunch of different cool things. And then also when I'm all done, I just have the option, I don't want to crop this. I can have other features here where I can add music. There might be some music that I want to add in here. I've never used this before, but it's going to let me have music to play around with, but I'm going to be able to do that as well. I would hold off using that altogether because I have no idea how that works. And that music can be very distracting in a presentation, but if you figure it out later on, that's great. You can also take your webcam off at this point. It'll also hide it completely for you. And also that if you have captions from a file, if you have speech to text, and so it says run speech to text editor. And if I do this, it's going to actually run an editor over the entire. It's just going to go ahead and tell the, the recording is going to be, a list of what I've said are going to appear as captions right on the screen for me, and that'll start running my captions. So when students play this video, they're going to be able to see at the bottom, like you're seeing right now on my screen, just start saying, what is Screencast-O-Matic? So as I'm playing it, it's also going to show me, start to put my captions on here. So many of you have said, well, how do I do captions? This is a really simple way to do it. And I'll show you again once it kind of runs through. Can I just say okay and let it keep running? I hope I can. But in this case, I've turned the captions feature on, and I think it's already said it's done. So in this case, I do want it, and I do want English, and I think that gave me my editing bar, and so it's still going. Oh, I think it stopped. I think you have to wait. Don't actually leave this. Let me trash this and say yes, delete them. You probably need to run your captions and wait for them to finish. That's my advice, because I'm learning that because I myself before. So what'll happen is that you just sit here and wait for it to run captions all the way through your video, and then you're gonna then the captions will appear on the screen, and then when you save this video, the captions will be available for your students. So it's a really very fast way to make something accessible for people who need it for accessibility purposes, but also for just basic learning principles. There was an article, a few articles that came out recently that said that most people actually, when given the opportunity, put the captions on, even if they have no visual deficit in any fashion. So if they're not blind, or they don't have a visual acuity issue, or have some type of issue with seeing the screen, a lot of times they just either have the volume down, or it's easier for them to read from like words and things like that. So you're not just doing it for the purpose of accessibility, you're doing it to make it accessible to all audiences of how they want to be seen. And so I think that there's no captions shown. Some of this is that I might have just been talking or going over things as well. I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. Now I have captions. Once I'm all done, oh, before I forget, so very top right-hand side of the screen, you're going to see here it says enter recording name, and I might just want to have a recording name. So what is Screencast-O-Matic? You can go through this entire thing and not put a recording name on it. That's okay as well. But what I usually want to tell people is that at the end, when you're going to figure out where you want this to go, you're going to be able to put a title on it as well. So at the upper right-hand side. I'm going to go ahead and click done. Okay. Now I've clicked done. I've made my adjustments. There's little breaks. I've made adjustments to volumes. I've gotten rid of my webcam. I've put an arrow on things. I've done a bunch of stuff. You don't need to do that. You can just go ahead, hit the recording and bypass all of that and hit the, I'd say hit the captions button, run the captions, then hit done. That way your videos have captions, but you don't have to have all the fancy things as well. But if you also decide, like for me, I just realized I don't really like that my video is there covering my presentation. That's always going to give you the option to take that away even after you recorded it. So now I have a presentation, it's waiting here, and I have a couple options. It's gonna ask me, where do I want to save this now? Do I want to save this as a video file on my desktop? Do I just want to upload this to my Screencast-O-Matic account, or do I want to send it to YouTube? I also have a plus button at the upper right-hand side of this little menu, and it gives me that option to upload to Vimeo, which is another storage company, upload to my Google Drive if I want to, or upload to Dropbox. So I do have other options, and most people either use the video file Screencast-O-Matic or YouTube. So it's kind of your option of what you want to do. I'm going to go ahead and, just for the purpose of this, I'm going to go ahead and click on Upload to YouTube. When you go to upload to YouTube, to Vimeo, even to Screencast-O-Matic, it's always going to ask you, it's Screencast-O-Matic, it won't ask you what your account is, but it's going to ask you for your account. It's going to ask you for a title, a brief description, any tags, your privacy, your category, cursor, captions, all of that as well. In this case, I have two accounts available to me. I have CODL and Kyle Kraus. I can put any of these videos on either of these accounts for myself, but you would just select your own account. And when you do that, it would just swap that over. You're going to set this up ahead of time, as I said, and what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to remove myself right now, is when I click on here, the first time you come here, there's going to be Add Account. I'm going to click on Add Account. I'm going to get a button that says Launch Web Browser. And if you've already set up your YouTube account, you're going to see all of the accounts you have possibly available to sign in. I'm going to just click on KS Kraus at Stick. It asks me which account I want to use. I'm going to say my Stick account, and then I'm just going to allow it to be able to manage and view my YouTube account. That's how it's going to sync it in there. Then I can go ahead and it says Add YouTube Account, Successful Authorization, and I hit Done. And now that's how I'm going to be able to add to my YouTube account. So you have to go to your YouTube account. You have to select your Stick account, activate it. You can do the quota thing after or before. You can do either of those things. But then this is how, once you've activated, that's how it's going to let you sign in. If you don't do the first step of going and making sure your Stick YouTube account is activated, you will get an error every time when you try to sign in here. So that's why you have to do that first before you do Screencast-O-Matic. I'm just going to go through title, description. Description is what happens at the bottom of the YouTube channel, where usually somebody has some type of language there. So this is a work, and I can learn how to type here. This is a workshop on Screencast-O-Matic. Okay. And then I have to make sure I write and spell and do all that stuff as well. So that's going to show up on my YouTube video, and if I have any tags there as well. The next thing we're going to talk about is privacy. You have three options: unlisted, public, and private. Private will not let you just show this video to anyone but yourself. So you get to enjoy watching your own videos, but you don't get to share them with anyone else. Then the next option is going to be unlisted. Unlisted allows you to keep the video from being displayed to the rest of the internet, but you get to give out the link or embed the video anywhere you choose to by your permission. So if you're in Blackboard, you would give the link in Blackboard and the students can access it that way, but they can't access it outside of Blackboard. It's just inside of Blackboard because that's where you put the link. So people can't access your YouTube account and see it there. And the only way they can is if you give them the link. The other option that you have is public. And public is going to allow you to publish out to the web, and everyone in the YouTube universe is going to be able to see that video. Most online faculty are going to choose unlisted so that they can use these videos to put in their classes. One little caveat that I always kind of point out is about this is that when you're thinking about your privacy, there might be some videos that you do want to make public on your YouTube channel. There, not only is it for you professional development, it also may help you in terms of being able to promote your program or your department. But you might have students who say, you want to tell students what entails your class. If you make a video public, you can send out those videos and emails to students that says, hey, look at our program. This is the type of presentations we do, or here is a tutorial about how our classes are laid out. This is what you should expect. That's why you would use the public setting. And so sometimes I tell people that every once in a while when somebody asks, what entails your program, or I'm interested in your program, what can I, what kind of stuff do we do? You could just have 1 or 2 videos that are listed as public that you share with students, other schools, when you're doing high school kind of tour things. You could be like, hey, check out, this is the kind of stuff we do. Because I always say this is that you can watch all the videos on an MIT site and you can watch all the videos on a Harvard site, but you can't get a degree from Harvard and you can't get a degree from MIT unless you take the class and you work with the professor. Same thing here. So if you do have a couple of videos that are public, it's okay to just share some stuff out, because then you're just creating a little bit more public relations. But please feel free to make your own choice. Unlisted, public, but private's going to have no one seeing it. So just kind of choose for yourself. Also, if you're going to share videos with your colleagues, you want to make sure that if you do unlisted or public, and that you share those with them as you see fit. So that's just to let you know that's what privacy entails. So again, unlisted is what most faculty at STIC do choose to use. Category, I always select education. Cursor, it's up to you if you want the cursor or no cursor. That's just on you. And then captions here, I need to just check in here. It says captions aren't supported when uploading to here. So I think that the Screencast-O-Matic captioning might only work on that. Again, I didn't get a chance to upload since the captioning feature became available to me. So you might only have those on Screencast-O-Matic. We'll figure that out. And then quality is going to be normal, but you can also, if you want a very high crisp video, you can do higher, but it's going to take a lot longer to upload, or you can do lower for a faster upload, which is what I'm going to do right now. When I'm all set, I'm going to go ahead and click on publish, and it's going to take a few seconds, and it does 2 things. It does a thing called encoding and uploading. So what it's doing is it's preparing it for video presentation. Remember how I said that's the thing that Blackboard doesn't kind of do as well? This is setting it up to be able to have various formats that it can play in, and then it's going to upload it up to YouTube. Now, my video is only a few minutes long. I want to prepare you all to know that sometimes videos take a while to upload. I had an hour-and-a-half video for one of these presentations. It probably took me like 11 minutes one day that I was putting it up. It might take a little bit longer depending on your internet connectivity and speed. So I do want to let you know there is a moment where you can sit here and just watch, or what happens is that you can do this thing called continue in the background. I don't want to sit here and wait 77, 85. I don't want to wait that long and then I don't, well, it's done now. But I just don't want to wait if it's a longer video. Once I do that, I now have my ability to open my upload, copy the link, or just say okay. And then I'm just going to go ahead and say okay. It's going to go ahead and have my video here in my manage recordings area. And I can do automatic backup here if I want to, and I could just, it says 16 of mine aren't secure, and I can just go ahead and automatically save these onto my Screencast-O-Matic account. For the purpose of time today, I'm not going to go ahead and do that. Then I can go ahead and start recording another video. My published video is here, and I can come back and start all over again. I want to show you what this looks like on YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come to YouTube, type in, youtube.com. And I'm logged in as Kyle Kraus here right now, so I'm going to have to fix that in a second. Let me actually be where I put the account. So I'm going to be on my website. I would say this, sign into your YouTube account is probably what I always do. I don't usually go to YouTube first. I come in here, I make sure I'm signed into my STIC account, and then I come to the little Google Apps icon next to my icon, and I come to YouTube. I'm going to be logged in on my STIC account, and when I click on here, I'm going to have my window for my account. This is a whole other set of videos and another tutorial, but this is just to let you know that from this menu, you'll see your account. I have a thing called my YouTube Studio. When I open this up, it's going to give me a dashboard of all of the videos and materials and information. And I'm going to have on the left-hand side of the screen a menu. The menu is going to say dashboards, videos, playlists, analytics, comments, subtitles, monetization, and audio video. I mostly pay attention to just the 3, dashboards, videos, and playlists. I'm going to click on my videos, and that video, oh, did I put it on Kyle Kraus, didn't I? That would be funny if I did that, wouldn't it? Let me come back here. Come to my YouTube studio. Come to my videos. And now here's my video. So I put it on my personal account by accident. It's labeled as unlisted. It's sitting in my YouTube account. And if I come over here, I can edit different things about my video here at YouTube. I can see my analytics. I can see any comments if I put public commenting on, or I can just click on here and see what my video looks like on YouTube. And so right now it's going to play for a few seconds. And then I can start recording. Now you're going to start to see that there's going to be a pause button at the bottom of the screen. But then you're also going to see a counter that's happening. And you're also going I accidentally left the music on. See that that's annoying. It's telling me that I wouldn't play music. So that's just to let you know that that's the steps to having it. Now, since we do have some time, I'm going to pause for a second. I covered a lot, and I know that was a bit. So, any questions so far? I know Mary was chatting in the thing. Yeah, so Mary is exactly right. You want to make a few short videos. I practice this. The worst thing to do is to try to do your first 40, like, I don't even have to say, you're not going to do a 45-minute lecture, because why would you do that? Say you're going to do your first lecture and it's going to be 15 minutes long, and you kind of get all frazzled. At minute 14, you're going to have to record that whole 15 minutes over again if you get frazzled and, you know, really kind of go, So what I normally tell people is just to practice a few times. See how this works, look at it just like I did. I put up a 2-minute and 16-minute video onto YouTube to make sure it loaded in there. I'm not putting my valuable lecture recordings, any of my recordings up there without kind of knowing the process a little bit. And then also, yes, you want to make sure you put on your stick account and not put it on a personal account. Otherwise, you're going to have to save that. Yes, so Tracy, you can save them just on Screencast-O-Matic. So if you're, if you have your video, and if I have, for example, I saved my videos there. Let's see where I am at. I was in my YouTube account, my content. So I do have recordings here that are saved, and this is my content area. Let me do. I have that list, and this is the one thing I do have to make sure I know how to get back to. My video editor, I'm going to come into here. This is my video editor. So these are all of the videos that I've done over the month. So say I have this video here, and I want to save to Screencast-O-Matic. Instead of going to YouTube, I click on Upload to Screencast-O-Matic, and I get that same window. I want to make sure my stick account, I have my title, my channel. If I'm going to make it password required, I can also put a password in there. I can also make a custom link. I can also do the no cursor thing. In here, this is where my captions would stay. So I do have the ability to put the captions here. And is it searchable everywhere? I can say it's searchable nowhere. I can search Google, Bing, or it's only on this pro hosting site here. I'm going to make it searchable nowhere just for my own purpose, and I'm going to go ahead and click on publish. Does the same thing it does for YouTube. It's going to go ahead and click on here, and it says what is Screencast, it says what's Screencast-O-Matic, open, upload, stop, publish, continue in the background. Now it might take a little bit longer only because there are captions placed on this. So you're going to want to save videos locally and put them on a streaming server. You're not going to want to put videos directly into Blackboard. And the reason why you don't want to put them direct into Blackboard is that the playback on Blackboard is not going to be consistent from browser to browser, but that also you're going to what we call bloat your class. When Blackboard classes, since they're not video servers, when you put a lot of files like videos onto the Blackboard site, because it's not a video server, not meant to have that size of videos. And when I usually say that is, what people don't realize is the reason that you can only have one movie on a DVD is that's the maximum amount of storage you can have on a DVD. So we can't have 2 movies on it. So thinking about storage, you're putting a considerable amount of storage on Blackboard. 2 things. You can have as many shells as you want, but we do have kind of a storage limit for the amount of capacity. So Scott Lambert is always attentive to that. But also over the years, the bigger and more bloated your class is, when you go to copy that class, your class is more likely to have little odd errors, or I find that those classes, what we call break. You'll find that they don't copy properly, they don't save properly, and that's mostly because it's not intended to be classes that have a lot of big content in it, especially not for a streaming server. And that's been my experience, that people who've had major issues where they build an online class and then copy it over a couple times, as you would with a hybrid or online class, you're going to end up starting to see like the bugs of the system start to be more prevalent and show up. And that's been my observation working with system admins in Blackboard for several years. So we generally say you want to put them on a streaming server to accommodate the fact that they need to be encoded to play on any device. That's probably the biggest thing. And then also just storage size and just the issues that might come up with your class by uploading videos in. So I've uploaded this to What is Screencast-O-Matic, and I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. And when I do that now, if I come back to my window here, hopefully this should be where it is. And now here is my video on Screencast-O-Matic. In order to share it in Blackboard, I'm going to be able to come here and click on share. And again, I'm going to have the ability to do the link, and I'm going to be able to do the embed code as well. So yes, you can do that.
Can I just interject something here, because there's a conversation about increasing your storage in YouTube. I just encountered this yesterday, and one thing you need to remember with Google and YouTube is they tend to change things around often, and you never know when that's going to happen. So I was in yesterday helping a faculty increase the storage size in their YouTube account. We were trying to go through the instructions that are on the link that I just put into the chat, and we ran into a little bit of issue at what we weren't seeing the button that we were supposed to be seeing as per the instructions that are on the site. So I put the notes in there about what to do. You have to go into settings and then go to channel, and there's a feature eligibility. It isn't the easiest thing to find, but once we found it, you could find it right under settings. You only have to do it once, but then you have to use your phone or your email to get a verification code, because YouTube wants to be sure that you are you and that you are verifying that the storage to be increased. It took us about 10 minutes. It wasn't a big deal, but I just wanted you to know that that sometimes happens. If it does, reach out, and you have any kind of issue, just reach out and we'll walk you through it on a Hangout or a Zoom. But I just encountered that yesterday, and that tends to happen occasionally.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary. Yes, and that's, Mary and I make that joke that we'll come to Google and there'll be a whole new set of buttons that are available. So I would say that when people ask which one, I usually use YouTube. I will do a little investigation to see if there's a way of being able to export the captions from Screencast-O-Matic, because what would be a bigger selling point for me right now is that if in Screencast-O-Matic these and then I can stop recording if I had the captions available. So if I have these available to my students, that might make this just automatically putting it on and having it done for me, where I know that sometimes isn't as reliable for YouTube, but I think we need to just kind of explore seeing which one's the better option. I kind of like this a little bit more because to go into YouTube, you have to go into another section here, and it's just automatically done in Screencast-O-Matic. But we actually haven't talked about that because we never had storage in Screencast-O-Matic before. So I think that's also a good conversation to be able to have to help. So in terms of that, we do have a few more minutes. Would people like me to go over how you could put this into Blackboard? I'm gonna guess it's a yes, but okay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I wanna log into Blackboard while I'm here, and hopefully, I'm sorry that my screen is really big, and I want to get actually out of this one. All right. So either way, I'm going to show you both ways, using YouTube and using Screencast-O-Matic. So say I'm going to be in Blackboard, and I'm just going to pull my Blackboard window out, and I'm going to make it much bigger than I normally do. Okay. So I want to be in Blackboard, and I want to go to my class, and I want to enter some stuff into it. I'm going to be here, and I'm going to make my screen a little bigger so you can all see. I'm going to come into the list of my class, and I'm going to come to my sample class that I have out for everybody. And I want to go to my course content, and I want to add this Screencast-O-Matic presentation that I just did. So say I have my I'm just gonna do my communication tools workshop, and I want to come in here and I want to add this in there. I'm going to come to the location of where I want to put my content. So I have here my area that in Blackboard where I want to add this into. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to go ahead and I want to make sure I'm in course materials. So this is where I want to go. Then I'm going to have another window or tab open, and I'm going to have Screencast-O-Matic. If I'm using Screencast-O-Matic, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to do a web link in Screencast-O-Matic and an embed code in this, and then I'm going to show you how to do it in YouTube as well. When I'm in a Screencast-O-Matic, and if I've stored my videos here, on Screencast-O-Matic, you have 3 dots. At the 3 dots, Screencast-O-Matic has a 15-minute storage limit if you're using the free account. It has
here in deluxe or premium plans. Oh, no limit. Okay.
Yep. So,
and I just want to say, I personally I store everything. I download everything to my desktop, and then I upload everything back to YouTube. I do it manually just because I like to have the control over it. And I just feel better. I feel more comfortable that it's all going through and it's all okay. But you have to go with the workflow that you feel most comfortable about. Personally, I find the Screencast-O-Matic storage area confusing for me personally. So that's why I do my own workflow. I just go right to YouTube.
And I generally just practiced, I played with this enough that I feel confident that either Screencast-O-Matic or YouTube, I use the automatic send over. So I also know that now with the backups, my stuff is backed up on Screencast-O-Matic, so I have it always there, and then I can always just port it over I can port it over to YouTube if I want to, or I can just use Screencast-O-Matic. So yes, Mary's exactly right. Choose the one that you prefer and feel most comfortable with. In terms of starting in Blackboard, so I've gone to Blackboard, I've come to the area that I want to add my video in. I'm going to come in Screencast-O-Matic, I'm going to come to the 3 dots at the upper right hand side of the particular video that I want to go into. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to get the share button. When I get the share button, a window shows up, and I'm going to have an option to do a link, and I'm going to have an option to do an embed code. A link just makes a web link inside of Blackboard that you can click on and send outwards. The embed code embeds the video directly into the screen and is still on the Screencast-O-Matic or YouTube site. It's just showing it right on the screen. Now, to do a Screencast-O-Matic direct link, what you're going to want to do is come to the button here that's to the right of this, and you're going to click on it, and it's going to have copied this copy this onto my clipboard. I'm going to come over to Blackboard, and what I usually do is, in this case, I usually will do an item, but you also have the ability to do a web link. So if I click on here and do a web link, all I have to do is open the web link interface and say, this is a welcome to Screencast-O-Matic. And then I just have to put the URL in. Then what I can do is I can type instructions or information about this website if I want to, or I could just send students to this website. I can hide this. I can add attachments like I always do with any web link. I have the ability to browse, do this, put my standard options, put my timers or restrictions on there, and then I can go ahead and hit submit. Now, this web link shows right here on the screen where it says, welcome to Screencast-O-Matic. When I click on this, what's going to happen is that I can start recording. This will show up, and the captions window will show up on the right-hand side of the screen. If I want instead to do an embed code, which embeds the video right into the screen, what I can do is come down here and see embed code. What size do I want? Say I don't want, I just want a small version of this. Or I can do what's called responsive, which will actually like decide by how size the window is. But I'm just going to choose small for right now. I can also choose, do I want the title to be displayed? Do I want captions to be displayed? Do I want a transparent background? I have other selections that this is how it's going to show up in Blackboard, because the code is going to change for all of the things that I asked for. Once I'm done with that, I can go ahead and click on the button that says copy code. It's the same icon as the copy button for the link. I'm going to come back into Blackboard, but this time I am going to do what's called an item. I'm going to come to build content. I'm going to come to item. I'm going to type in my welcome to Screencast-O-Matic. And then in the text box, instead of putting the code in the text box, I'm going to go to the third row all the way to the end to the button that says HTML, second from last button. I'm going to get a window that shows up, and I'm just going to paste that right into this HTML code view box. Then all I have to do is go down to the bottom of the screen and hit update. A yellow box is going to appear here, and this is going to tell me this is the placeholder for my video. Now I can expand this box out by clicking the expand button, or I can drag down and make this bigger. It's going to seem like it's a really big video, bigger than I thought it was going to be. But I can always put my cursor before the video and type something here if I want to give context, or I can put my cursor on the right-hand side and type something here. So this also lets me add more text to my video. When I'm all set, if I don't have attachments and I've changed my options, I can go ahead and hit on submit. And now when I come here, I'm going to have a full video of my screen. It's going to show this to my students. And then I can hit play. And then I can start recording. And it's going to also have my start to see that there's going to be a pause button at the bottom of the screen. Students will also be able to take this caption. Then you're also going to see a counter. So that's how I would do that in Blackboard for Screencast-O-Matic. I would go in and make a web link, or I would go ahead and put the embed code right into Blackboard as well. Now, I'm going to go over to YouTube and do the same thing. And you're like, Kyle, why would you do that? Just for practice. But also, let me just, there's another way that you can also, I want to be pointing out to people how the various ways that you can also do linking in Blackboard. When you're at YouTube, the easiest thing that I have found, because going through some of these menus here has been really awkward for me, the easiest way for me to find the link is to actually come to the view on YouTube button for my videos. And then I can start recording. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come onto the YouTube channel. I see my title, it's unlisted. I see I have one view. I'm going to come all the way over to the like and dislike area, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on the share button. The share button is going to open me a window that allows me to have both my copy of my link and will provide me my embed code. One thing that is available on YouTube is that if you also want to start playback at a different time, like say I want to start 2 seconds in or 12 seconds in, I can do that as well. You'd have to check that button here. But say I just want to copy this link here. I'm going to go ahead and click on the link button, and I'm going to come over back into Blackboard once I find my Blackboard page. Oh, I'm on my Blackboard page. Good job, Carl. Here's my Blackboard site. I want to use an item again to add my web link in. But instead of doing a web link, what I want to do is I want to have that link be inside of a bunch of text. So I want to have it be kind of hyperlinked within some text. I want to use the item.
I think you froze up, Kyle.
Did I? Oh. Am I here?
Yes, you're here.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is it Mary that froze up? I don't know. Okay. So I want to use an item for this instead, because what I want to do is I want to make this kind of hyperlinking feature where the word is actually the video that I want to take someone to. And what I can do here is I'm going to come to build content. I'm going to come to item. And then I'm going to, again, welcome to Screencast. I'm just going to do welcome this time because I don't feel like typing this. What I have the option to do is what I want to do is I want to type the title first. So I'm going to type in welcome to Screencast Matic. And it's like, please watch this video, welcome to Screencast-O-Matic, before reading the chapter. So I have this in the sentence of what I want to say. What I can do is I can highlight that title of my video. Then on the second row of the content editor, what I can do is come to this button that looks like a little link. And when I hover my mouse over it, it's going to say insert/edit link. When I click on this button, a menu appears again, and I'm going to be able to paste that YouTube link in there. I'm also going to have the option to have them override this screen by opening the video right in this screen, or what I like to do is open in a new window. When I do this, I can hit insert, and now it is hyperlinked that word. So my video will play, but it's part of a sentence, and it's also going to be, it's going to be able to be read, and then the students can click on it. So I'm going to hit submit right now, and you'll see that when I do that, it'll say, please watch this video. And when I click on it, a new window appears. And then I can start recording. And the students can keep going back and forth to Blackboard between them. Now, it's a little trickier on a mobile device. I know that. And that's why you have to kind of figure out, you know, I usually just tell everybody it opens in a new window and it'll just open up on that screen. Two things. A, I just think this is a clean way to be able to display videos. It makes very long HTTP addresses. It makes it look a little bit better. It also is very clear about what the video is, kind of thing like that. But it also is the accessible way to provide links. And the reason I say that is that if I was reading, if a screen reader was reading this to me right now, it would say, please watch this video link, welcome to Screencast-O-Matic, before reading the chapter. If it was in its full format, it would say, please watch this video, comma, http www.youtube.com/. It's going to do that. So doing this actually allows for screen readers or anybody who is using an accessibility feature that reads text on the screen for them. It's going to allow them to just have this read to them with a very simple notation that that's a link that they can access. So I'm a big fan of that feature. Now, if I wanted to embed from YouTube, same principle that I did the last time. I'm going to come to share again. I'm going to be on my YouTube video. I'm going to click on embed, and now it's going to show me what this looks like. And I can go ahead and just highlight this, or I can click copy again. I'm going to click copy, and that'll copy it immediately. I also have the ability to do what's called enable privacy enhancement mode, which this just means that YouTube won't store anything about any of the visitors to my site. You can go ahead and do that. That's not going to do any harm, especially if you just don't want the student, want to have any student data out there or kind of thing like that. I don't know how it gets used, but I do let people know that that's an option for you to do. And then you're going to go ahead and click on copy, and it says that, you know, that's going to acknowledge it to YouTube not to use that. Again, same principle that I did with Screencast-O-Matic. I'm going to come over to my build content item. I'm going to type in my welcome. I'm going to go to the third row, second to last button. I come in here, I paste it, I hit update, and now my video, the yellow box header there is there, and I click submit after I do all my settings. And again, my video is going to sit here like this and look like this for YouTube. So the interfaces look a little different. You might want to show them. And again, if you come here, it'll play. I don't have my captioning here. You'd have to go to YouTube to turn the captioning features on. But I do have my captioning feature here, there. But you are able to do captions in this. You can also set this so this will go full screen for your students so that they can watch it. And you're also, oh, not
And then I can stop recording.
Oh, I'm going to be liking getting rid of this video. It'll also let me take this right to YouTube if I'm having a problem. And I can also adjust the speed and quality. So if I want to make the quality higher, I can also do some of that stuff if it's allowing me. I didn't record that in 720, so it's not going to do that. So if I wanted to watch it on YouTube, I can do that as well. So with that said, that is the 3 ways that I would embed videos into Blackboard. I would use build content web link, build content item, and then use the HTML button. Then I would also just hyperlink inside of Blackboard with using build, create item, and then I would go ahead and use the link feature and give it a title. But I would put the title in first, and then I'd highlight it and put the link in. So those are the ways that you can go ahead and embed your video content into Blackboard. With that said, we are at 10:30, and I don't want to keep you longer. Are there other questions? I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. But other questions people might have? You can use the mashup, Tracy, the mashup option if you'd like to, but if you make your videos unlisted, they may not show up in the mashup tool. Because publicly videos that were also permitted for public use are usually also through the YouTube mashup. So you usually find a lot of other schools or other faculties videos. That's because they publish them to be public. But if you do private or you do unlisted, your video might not show up there with that. If you need to create storyboards, you would be able, so when you're talking about creating storyboards, do you want to create storyboards like you have to do your PowerPoint slides? Or are you needing, what kind of thing would you like to do? I don't know if you feel comfortable. And I'm going to also end the recording at this point.